Well, again, thank you for this opportunity. First of all, giving on to God, that of my life. I truly am grateful for this opportunity. I feel good for it, because my main goal every day is to come to work hard. I don't work for awards or pat you in your backs, but I work for the community. I feed off the community, and I listen to the community. And my vision is to be instrumental in the CID unit that is top in the world. Not just top locally, not just top nationally, in the world. And that's the way that I think, and I try to meet those guys and listen to them. Those ladies and gentlemen, listen to their ideas, and I incorporate them, as well as I show them that I can get there with them as well to model if they don't know something. That means a whole lot. I got a lot of feedback like that. Sometimes they ask me, say, hey man, we don't have nobody out here working like this with us like this. I said, well, this is what you're supposed to do as a leader. I believe, firmly believe that if your people can see you do it, they'll do it too. So I try to model that behavior, and my vision is to, again, be instrumental in the CID piece as far as the city of South Fulton, just making it one of the best criminal investigation divisions in the nation, in the world. And do that by, number one, supporting my major and her vision, as well as the chief vision and the overall vision of this city and this police department.
Now, Bernard, he's one of those people that when I first got over to College Park, he was in CID, and I said, okay, investigations is my baby, so you got to learn how I do stuff, because I'm not going to have anything coming across my desk. And he was more than willing to come in and learn how to put those investigations together. And I got to say, Bernard, I haven't been disappointed with the leadership that you've shown over there in CID.
Yes.
And I believe it's not a mistake that all our murders are solved, right?
Right.
That takes a process, and if you understand what that process is, and we start putting strategies in place to make sure that we get ourselves to that place, you're going to be successful more often than not. And so I think it's important for us to be able to put those processes in place for our people and explain to them. When I brought Quinn in Velasquez, I know, over the homicide the same day, and I begged the deputy chief at the time in Atlanta to let me keep him and teach him. And he was like, I don't know. I said I wanted to keep him on day watch because they had a new process of sending every new detective to morning watch. So he wound up letting me keep both of them. And those guys questioned me every step of the way. Well, I was a sergeant. Sarge, why we got to do this? Sarge, why we got to do that? And it's got so bad that I thought I made a mistake bringing them guys over there. But then it dawned on me that they weren't questioning me, they were questioning the process, right?
Right.
And if you understand that, then you're prepared to teach every day. They wanted to know why certain things had to be done, and you have to know your job well enough to be able to explain it to them.
Right.
And so that's why I keep saying educate yourself, educate yourself, educate yourself, because the education in this job never stops.
Right.
It never stops. Did you ever learn more about murder investigation than you did when you went to New York?
Well, I learned more up there.
Yeah, and see, I went up there, and I met with some of the best investigators throughout the world.
In the world. Yeah.
All over the world showed up. And we sat down, and I told Carl Van Adder one day, I done got off of my war story.
Yeah.
I told Carl Van Adder one day, if I had worked on that O.J. Simpson case, he would have been in trouble. And he said, Keith, you don't understand. That case had a life of its own. And a little after that, I got Ray Lewis, and I kind of understood a little bit, but you have to be prepared to teach and educate and make sure your people get the best training that's available. I ain't talking about gypstick. The gypstick is fine.
Right.
But didn't you learn from some of the best people in the world?
Yeah.
I had Robert Shapiro sitting across the desk.
Yeah, in the world.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the sort of relationships and those are the sort of training opportunities that we have to be prepared to provide for our people so that they can turn around and say that they learned from some of the best. I spent a month in Scotland Yard. I mean, those are the sort of things that you have to be prepared to make sure we give and extend to our people. All right? My man, National Preacher Man.
All right. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you all for the opportunity, giving me a chance to move forward and also share what I've learned throughout the years. And it's funny, Reggie now going to the same place. That's one of my FTOs. So I thank you too for some of the things that you taught me. He had a question. He said, "I want to understand what type of officer are you?" That was the question he asked me. And also when I teach in the academy, I ask the students, I say, "Are you sure you want to be the police?" That was the first question I would always ask my class every morning, because what we're dealing with is a change.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with change. You can't have a fear of change, because if you don't change, you'll die.
Right.
One of the things I would like to implement once I go to the grade shift is to find out, I want to ask them, there's 3 bones I want them to understand. Ask them. I want to see if they have a wishbone, a backbone, and also a funny bone. Let me explain that to you. The wishbone, I want to understand what are their endeavors, what are they wishing to be and want to be, and looking forward to. The second one is a backbone. That's courage. You got to have courage in the midst of dealing with this being a police officer. The last one is the funny bone. The funny bone, you got to be able to smile, because everything we deal with can be so serious, but laughing and having fun, that's also medicine for the soul. And I'm real key on that, but I want to make sure that we build a foundation with the new officers, because there's some things I think they need to learn, but we need to make sure we put them in a huddle and find out, do they understand the play? I don't want you to just run the play, but I want you to understand the play. So once we do that, I think that we'll be even stronger than what we're trying to go and be. I just want to also learn even more myself. Like a sponge, I just want to soak up new things. I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything, but I want to keep trying to learn new things. So that's where I'm at with that deputy chief, and my coworkers, what we're trying to do. So I may come and ask you, give you a call, because I don't know everything. So don't look at my phone number and don't answer the phone if I have to have a question for you. Okay? I love you. I appreciate it.
Hey, so let me say something about Massey. When I first became chief here, I brought select people into my office out there, and I said, this was maybe after I had been chief about 4 months, and I asked questions about.
He was the only one. I remember that.
Everybody, oh, chief, you're doing a wonderful job. You're doing a wonderful job. Massey was the only person that said, chief, you could have did this better. You know, and I knew he was my guy then. He said, chief, you could have did this better.
And a lot of respect.
Yeah, and you got a lot of respect for me that day, Massey. And I don't even think you realized it, but you did. And yeah, that's right, because that's right, you were in the county. And so, listen, Keith Meadows ain't perfect. I've been in 3 police departments. When I first got out to College Park, I spent all my time with the troops. And then we had a car accident. 3 people got killed in a car chase. And all the police chiefs said, you should have spent all your time reviewing the policy first, changing your policy. And I said, okay, coming into South Fulton, I spent all my time reviewing policy when I first got here. Then everybody said, you should have been with the troops. I'm convinced there ain't no perfect way to come in from the outside. What you have to do is you have to understand where your people are. And see, I'm still learning, even as a police chief to this day. And I'm gonna always keep learning. But I'll say this, nothing replaces experience. Nothing. And that's why you all are in those chairs right now. Yeah, I got a degree, I got 2 degrees. You got a degree, everybody got it. But nothing replaces what you've gone through, right?
That's right.
And so what you're going through, you have to be prepared to take that knowledge a little further than when you found it. And so telling me that everything is all good when it ain't doing me no good, right? And so I need people that's gonna be prepared to challenge me. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna make a choice. Don't get me wrong. And I'm gonna choose based on that experience. Now see, I got 34 years more than anybody in this room. Griff, how many years you got? 26. I still got you. Tina, how many you got?
What year is it?
2020. 27. Gary, you got 27 too. And I know the rest of y'all babies. So.
I'm 27.
You got 27 years
Yes, sir.
too? Damn, Mac, I didn't know you were that old.
I'm 49. I'm still in the 40s.
Okay.
I just started. And for 1 more month. I just started right out of college.
Okay, yeah, so did I. And see, I'll be 56 this year, so Listen, what I've gone through, I'm gonna have to rely on that. Because I policed in a time when we did it wrong, and I policed in a time when we tried to get it right, and we're still trying to get it right. I have to be perfectly honest with you all, and I had this conversation with some community leaders the other day. The very first time I saw the Rodney King video, I was thinking to myself, what's the problem? Because we saw that stuff every day. That's before you all came up through the ranks. I mean, we saw that stuff every day. And it was just like normal practice in law enforcement. And so what we had to do eventually was teach ourselves the right way, and we have to be prepared to acknowledge those injustices that we see every day. I acknowledge it. I fully say, and people say, oh, you told somebody, you looked at the Rodney King video and said, what's the problem? That's what we were in during that time. That's what we were. I was trained by people from the 60s. Understand, I got in law enforcement in the 80s. You spend 30 years, count 30 years back from the 80s, you in the 50s and 60s. I was trained by people during that time. And so it only took, well, it took twice, the GBI to come out and read me my rights, twice, because we weren't doing things proper in Atlanta. They came out there and they came to CID as a detective and they read me my rights one time. And I said, well, I'm gonna learn that. And I learned it. Then they found out we were doing something else wrong in Atlanta. They came out a second time. And I said, you know what? I'm going back to school. Right? Beverly Harvard kept telling me, keep going to finish your degree. Going to finish your degree. And I didn't listen to it. But it was after that second time the GBI came out there, I said, Georgia State, here I come. Right? And I started going back to school. And I started educating myself. And I understand the difference from where we were and where we are today. And I have to acknowledge what happened back then. We all do. We have to acknowledge what happened in Shreveport. We have to acknowledge what happened in Minneapolis. We have to acknowledge it. And we have to own it as a command staff. Why? Because people see a problem in policing. They ain't just looking at the South Fulton Police Department. They see a problem in policing. Right? And so that's why we have to acknowledge it and say, I understand, but this is what we're doing to get it right. And then we have to keep working to that end. And we have to keep working to that end. I thank God y'all didn't have to police in the time when I first came on. I mean, because it was ugly. I mean, it was ugly. It was an ugly time, and I'm glad that we're beyond that. And when we have a president that says police need to go back to busting heads, listen, that ain't even the type of leaders that we need in this country, because I policed during that time, and I don't ever want to see it ever again. So, you know. Now comes the time for we got to get my man some white shirts. We got to get everything. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Reeves. Come on up.
Say a few words.
Yeah. I have to tell you all, we don't have a bigger advocate on the council than Councilman Reeves. Coming through the door, he told me, he said, Keith, whatever you need, you're going to get it from me. Now, I'm going to keep that reasonable because I understand the political lens that he's going to walk out onto for this police department, right? And so we need to make sure that we're honest and upfront with our council people about the things we need and where we see us going. But I really, if nobody else tell you, I really appreciate all the support that you give to this police department.
Absolutely, I appreciate you as well. Captain Kane, Captain Bernard, Massey, O'Neill. And y'all are captains of y'all ship with a legitimate title. And I sat on the public safety board. This was on my Merchants Association under George Turner's administration as he was chief. And the one thing that changed my entire perspective on policing was they did the ride-along program. And I don't know if y'all are gonna have that or have it now or do, but it will literally change the entire mindset of a normal individual from the outside looking in. And ever since that day, I have had a newfound respect for you officers, because y'all do things on a daily basis, see the things on a daily basis that we will never see, never privy to. And it's, and I know sometimes it remains in your minds. And so I told Chief out there, whatever y'all need, I am very pro-police. I am very pro-police technology and technological advancements. And so whatever it is that y'all would need, then hey, I'm all for it. Because I know the dangers that you face each and every day, as well as increase in pay. And so, because it's also too of the retention that comes in. And I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of our City of South Fulton Police Department. We do not have the problems that the whole world is facing in different countries and areas. And we are a diverse police force. And so I appreciate y'all. I appreciate our chief and our deputy chief here for letting y'all get the training that y'all need. And anything that you need from me and from my administration, hey, I'm all for it. And congratulations to making captain status. And we can all go celebrate on 18 holes of golf. Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Councilman.
Come on, Denard.
Denard, let's go. Have you ordered your dress jacket yet? Y'all better go on and order this stuff. It's gonna take 3 months to get them in.
I told you, you be on. Hold on. Sorry.
Come on up, Tina, and get with your guy. I meant your captain.
Don't be sleeping, Chief.
I know, right?
Oh, wait. Are we taking it back on?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they're gonna be shown in public.
Oh, yeah, the show.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
All right, there you go, man. Congratulations,
Come on, Big Mac.
buddy. Captain, we're doing the epaulets, so if y'all get a chance, make sure, and that collar.
Okay.
Matt, we got to get you in a white shirt, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Hornets.
Oh, man. Oh, do you? Hey, did he beat you in golf?
Oh, no, we can wait.
Oh. Come on, Major. Oh, you know what? I asked you about the white shirt. You want your folks wearing the white shirt or the gray shirt?
We get dirty in patrol. Yeah, right.
All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
I want to thank this man right here. He really taught me a lot as far as a lot of things I should have known a long time ago.
That's good. That's really good. Oh, that's sit there with.
Yes, sir.
Oh, here, you might want. I can't find it. Okay. No.
Come on, Massey.
Got more down too?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Grill. Huh? I know. Come on, Gary.
Come on up here with him, Gary.
You got the frame? All right. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right.
Last but certainly not least.
Come on, Tammy.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.